What a day. It's nearly 25 past one in the early hours, and they're starting to. The ad agency is starting, as you know. I suppose it's inevitable they will at some stage have started messing about with sleep even more. But yeah, this is sort of last night I watched quite a few of the videos I've done over time. I will watch more. This is stuff I need to do right now. And it's sort of amazing how, I say things that, will happen. That do actually do transpire. This is one of the things that, I suppose what the main worry was that I'd go through the type of druggings I went through in January because I wasn't sure. Because I hadn't really thought about it. This was some sort of unconscious thought, I think. That going through those druggings again was going to be tough. If I had to go through, if I was put through them again. And if I am put through them again, judging from yesterday, I think I can come out of them again. Nothing new yesterday. Nothing. Yet again. Big build up and so on and so forth. To go for denouements with leisurely chase on the dole. And there you go. Despite about as many attempts as you can imagine, it sort of dawned on me that once I said I wouldn't be going back to the media as we start to get drug-ins, that they'd do that in that type of thing in the town, not least with the people that bust into town. And in the, and me saying, I've reached a stage of homelessness, I think we can now safely say, but with all that went on yesterday, with the drug-ins, with the shenanigans and all that stuff, that my hopes for psychiatry and the other institutions were naive, and the theorists were right all along about these institutions. And so now, even though it's not really my instincts, I've sort of got to go with the theorists in my approach with these people, who have, I sort of guessed. I'm still guessing, but I think, just on what went on yesterday, I'm probably right, that there has been a big attempt to big up the psychiatric unit in town, not least because I said I wouldn't be going there again, for a number of reasons. And they've sort of boxed themselves into a corner, haven't they? Where me saying, practically, because it was working, me at a tempo that I needed, for my welfare, coming off the ward after 10.5 weeks, where I did things on there, where it was quite clear that I knew how to do things that were good for me. Approached things with the tempo I needed, dealing with my involvement with psychiatric officials in a way that wasn't going to do long-term damage. Was the way to start doing things. Email, where it's not prone to becoming a big deal drama with people shooting from the hip and people planning, we'll do this and this, where people just tone it down a bit and just say, okay, let's just deal with the fundamentals, deal with the practicalities, instead of getting all het up about this, that and everything. proof of the pudding though, yesterday, is not only, I'm guessing, and I'm almost certainly right, there are attempts to big up the local psychiatric unit, and sort of position me in ways, sort of as a subject position in relation to that psychiatric unit, that again I'd argue are fantasy. But yeah, that's that's the way it goes with these powers. I mean, I pointed out yesterday, another thing I pointed out yesterday was while I was having coffee a couple of days ago down the coffee shop in the early hours. After I'd gone through the car park, the Tesco car park, the supermarket car park, where there were just adverts everywhere. It was one big commercial. I went to the coffee shop, and while I was sitting outside the coffee shop, some fella in a wheelchair was wheeled to be right adjacent to me, and he wasn't necessarily screaming, but he was almost shouting. He was so intent on being noticed. Me, I sat there. I carried on doing my video. I didn't even though he would have been in my peripheral vision. I focused on the phone, and just sat there with my coffee. And you didn't even pick up, did you? If you watched that video, you didn't even pick up that anything like that was going on, and the microphone didn't even pick it up either. But yeah, this guy was literally shouting. It was that loud to be noticed, and that sort of hints at the reality. Despite all the attempts at corporate tenure and so on and so forth, that I am guessing that people bust into the town primarily, although, like I've said before, it may not be the case now. They may have done a good enough job on me to make people, to make people believe whatever they want to believe, really. But yeah, and the druggings, like I said, there's druggings I've been through before. Not the most pleasant druggings you can imagine, but this is the nature of these people, that I've seen countless times. But it's like I said, I could write a book on how paranoid these people are with countless examples. But the thing is that I said, in past videos, going back a fair bit now, they'll pretty much be stuck with this. There'll be a resolution to this. There may be, like I've said about them now, position themselves in such a way that they box themselves into a corner where it'll be really difficult now for them to accept email as a way of communicating, and for other methods of involvement. They've sort of, like I said, they have boxed themselves into a corner. Now, the things I've been doing around the flat, I've sort of been transparent about them, about how I'm approaching that stuff. It's been working for me really well. I mean, at the moment, I've got an engineered dry mouth. I've got engineered brain fog, just to point that out, that if when you are faced with a total institution, these are the things you would expect. But yeah, really action. Well, it wasn't action-packed day because nothing much happened. It was just the druggings off it and the shenanigans off it. Me, I had breakfast, lunch, dinner, and that was about it, really. Yeah. The druggings and the shenanigans. Like I said, the shenanigans. There's methodology that was just taken from TV and put out into the local area. I've been saying it's a pity for Kidderminster. I think I may have said this in another video that it used to be so much better than this. It had so much more to say for itself than this. And now this is pretty much what it's reduced to in so many ways. Let me just take a drink of water because, like I said, and take the time because, the druggings, as you might anticipate, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that could be different about yesterday's druggings is it did take me a bit of time to notice them. So there may be this, there may have been an attempt to concoct some magic potion to make me not see those things. Be aware that the druggings are taking place. But yeah, again, that is something that's happened before, for a long time before. Also, and I know the top substance that will be poured off the back of this to try and test for emotional states and trichodology and all sorts of things that sort of have been tried before, that never come to anything also. But this is really practical. I mean, it's similar to my approach to the local psychiatric unit, that everyone, that is advertising, that is propaganda, trying to big up that psychiatric unit, is that there's a few relationships that I've kept the door open to. But after yesterday, taking into account certain things, it is obvious that any relationship I have, regardless of what other people have done already up to now, any relationship with anyone will be subject to going on in ways that belong to the amalgam years. So, I've just got to accept that inevitable fact that that's always going to be the case. There's never going to, and trying to engineer subject positions off the back of that, which is like me sort of saying to the architects, yeah, let's like when I was doped up to the hilt, actually engaging with one of the architects, the ones, which to me is a breathtaking level of psychological conditioning and chemicalisation for something like that to take place. But yeah, I mean, it's got to the stage as well where that lot downstairs who, they may not be there most of the time. Last night, they even had people run into the door of them downstairs. People run into the door, they don't even know one another. That's how crazy. And it's like off the bird, but it does come back to like what I was saying about that fella in a wheelchair who was shouting his head off outside the supermarket. I pointed out that I'm possibly the only person who can see just how crazy that is, which is sort of indicative of 96 to 2000, and me being just about the only one who could see how crazy that was, because everyone had persuaded themselves. A whole heap of things, and hyped themselves up and all the rest of it. All these attempts at Cool Britannia, like I said, for example, yesterday, people running to that place downstairs and trying to be heard. I just started watching videos that I was more interested in. Like, people who they don't even fucking know one another. Do you know what I mean? This is how fucking, as far as I'm concerned, how crazy this is. And, it just is an indication, come on. I think, the relationships I was thinking of starting off with, I think we all know the way they're going to go. You don't, like I've said before, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this type of stuff out. Do you know what? I'm just bored of it. I'm just tired and bored of such people who are consumed with dramas and performing and so on and so forth in ways that if I wanted that, I'd have just caved into the people between 96 to 2000 and just, gone along with them or whatever, I don't know. It's just not for me. And another thing, even though I'll have to I've got a worker coming here, a couple of workers coming here, one later on this week and one next week. There'll probably be some bullshit around that. Even if there isn't, they'll be having bullshit reactions off it. That's about as much as I want people in my flat. If it is my flat, if it's going to be my flat, if I'm going to have a sense of homeliness long term, because as we know, short term it's not going to be allowed. Long term it's possibly not going to be allowed. I'd rather have people I want here rather than people I'm coerced into having here, and so on. That's just the way it is. What am I supposed to do? Be coerced into having people here who are only going to bore the shit out of me by being persuaded to be part of some bullshit attempt to go for big deal dramatic moments and stuff. It's not for me. It's not my style. It's not in line with the type of person that I am. What is was what I was doing, in pointing out stuff and putting it in its place. To start off, for example, reconfiguring my relationship with what goes on, which is sort of a way, which struck me. It's sort of a way of reconfiguring things in ways that I should have done with the architects going way back. That's how I should have dealt with that. But like then, it was never going to be allowed to happen. And it's starting to look like, no, it's like the state of these people, like I say, with the local psychiatric unit and the huge attempts to make that place look impressive, and which, like I say, seems to me to have boxed those people into a corner where the very practical approach to it would be to just keep our distance for a bit, let them just settle after hospital. I need to take things at my own pace, but yeah. Like I said, now they've boxed themselves into a corner. It's them who's going to find it very difficult to do a email. As I've pointed out, will be the case with the Perfect Pharmacy across the way. That's going to be put up, not in no small part, to make a big deal out of the local psychiatric unit. That goes without saying. But yeah, even pointing out about me being the only one who could see how crazy it was for me to be sitting outside a coffee shop making a video with my coffee while some fella is wheeled to sit right adjacent to me, shouting his head off, trying to be noticed. It's sort of, you shouldn't say such things. Well, why is that? If people said I shouldn't say such things, which I can't get my head around, then surely the case is you shouldn't get people to do that sort of thing. But yeah, but again, I could go on about countless examples. of advertisements and so on and so forth, up to and including a couple of youth that ran to the supposed resident downstairs, who she didn't even know, and then they were trying to be noticed. And again, I wasn't interested, but as we saw yesterday, it is the case that the ad agency, the total institution, whatever, has plotted, planned, schemed to use the processes it tried to use in the media that ultimately failed, or succeeded, if you want, if I put it that way. In terms of the benefit it did for me in the long run, even though I won't be able to ever benefit from that. I don't think truly benefit from that. But yeah, if it's come to that, I mean that'll happen more and more. I'm guessing that there will be more people that one downstairs doesn't even know, running up there and probably not saying anything when they get in the flat, but while they're outside the front door, they'll, you won't be able to shut them up. They won't be noticed that much. But like I said about the fella in the wheelchair outside the coffee shop, shaking his head off to be heard, that's sort of indicative of what's really going on here. The dramas that they've become consumed with, and that they tried to consume me with so much yesterday with all the druggings. Guaranteed, off the back of what I've said about a few things, there will be druggings tomorrow, today and tomorrow, and maybe for quite a long time. I may have to go through the druggings I went through in January again. I don't know. But, and the stuff I've said about the people I left the door open to for a bit. And now, realistically, practically, it's time to admit to myself, it ain't going to work, it ain't going anywhere. I'd sort of decided on that quite a long time ago, when I saw with quite a few people that it's not really my scene, because not only would I have to abide by the type of things the powers behind the total institution are going with, which I disagree with, but they're just relationships that wouldn't work anymore. You really do have to look back to 2000 and say to these people, didn't you even fucking think? But then a lot of people didn't, did they? About those architects back then. But anyway, practically speaking, it would be an idea to let me go for a coffee. It is totally practical not to have, to go about my life, go about my day. My mum died in April last year. She was the only real... she was the person I was closest to. There ain't anyone who comes close to that. So pretty much when she died, that was effectively it. Now we know how things were being arranged, sort of thing, for some sort of attempt at a big deal, dramatic moment. I'm just not interested in. But yeah. Like I said, as we saw yesterday, and as is evident at the moment with the type of druggings that are going on, there will be druggings. Undoubtedly, definitely around me saying about relationships, even though the decision on making verbal now sort of made quite a long time ago, and dramas that were attempted around one of those relationships, to me, I just thought, well, that's sort of like the old gags are the best. They sort of tried that type of stunt on telly, and that fell flat too. Again, when they tried it this time, fell flat. But anyway, it's like, yeah. So the relationships that I kept the door open to, the door is now closed. As far as I'm concerned, that's that. And you just, you just get on with it, and you get over it and get on with it, like I keep saying. But like I said, like we had on the ward instances where there were attempts to test me out for different reactions of certain things, because they have ideas in their heads about, the subject position they think I hold, and so on. Like I said about what I see, life is so much richer than what I'm presented with the advert, the big fuck off advert that is, and in a lot of instances, when I see the attempts at storylines. But I just think, well, if people are really like that, I wouldn't really want anything to do with them, because that's a really boring existence. That just doesn't resonate with me. That happens quite a lot. But, like I said, people are richer than that. I'm for example, walking around the car park and how life's depicted and so on. You just walk through there thinking, what a load of bullshit. Like, what a load of adverts. That's the way it is. I'll continue. Not least, for example, because if you get someone almost screaming their head off when you're having a coffee and making a video, because they want to be noticed, which is sort of a clue as to what's really going on here, a big clue as to what's really going on here, you sort of realise that you just think, whatever drugging's come, whatever these people, whatever stunts these people pull next, you just get on with it.